it up, Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Where We Go One, We Go All After Dark. Many of you are rolling in from the 400th episode of DPH. Congratulations. That is some cool stuff right there. I think a good 100 episodes were before we even started Badlands. So it's been a pretty epic run for them. And my most congratulations. Tonight, we're going to get into some cool stuff. We're going to start off with I have things I want to yell about, and I have things that I think that are really cool. So we're going to start off with something that I think is really cool, and that is the construction of the East Wing ballroom. And I'm going to pull up some right here. I have some pictures right now, and some of you have been seeing a lot of freaking out online. I'm sure. I know I have. But as a construction guy and a dude who literally worked, done Trump projects in New York City, I geek out over this stuff. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. Knowing Trump and knowing the way we work in New York, no one does construction like in New York. But a lot of cities are very close. I'm sure whatever their crew they're bringing in Washington, D.C. is going to absolutely kill it, and he'll have this up. I'm calling it right now. 1 year max, probably less, to be honest, because actually a lot less. If it's just a singular ballroom, maybe 6 months. But sometimes the initial process of the foundation takes a decent amount of time, no matter how big the structure on top of it's going to be. So these are some cool pictures. I do like seeing this. Basically tearing down the old and coming up with the new. I have, this is a perfect representation of how two parties can see the same thing different ways, right? So here's someone taking a dig on Trump. It says the Trump administration in one image. Oh my God, they're tearing it down. But I would actually say, I agree with you, good sir. This is the Trump administration in one image. He is tearing down the former destruction that captured Washington, and he's going to create a beautiful ballroom so we can dance on the ashes of the deep state. So yes, right here, what you guys are looking at is the Trump administration in one picture. And again, Trump is a builder. I love that he's doing this, even just in general terms, even just forget about what he's building or what it's going to be. This is the spirit of the old Roman emperors, right? Who would build great marvels and that would serve as monuments to their reign. You had Caesar Augustus with the Forum and the Pantheon of the first iterations of them. You have Hadrian's Wall, Vespasian and the Colosseum, the Baths of Caracalla, so on and so forth. This is just cool. If you're in there, and especially someone who's like Trump, and you know, he's a great leader, he's also a great builder. This is so perfect for him, and I'm excited to see how it comes out when it comes out. Who knows? Maybe we'll all get invited there one day for a big "We Saved America" party. You never know. Crazier things could happen, right? But this is, again, I think very, very cool. And he put out a cool thing here. This was a release on it. It said the White House Ballroom continues a proud presidential legacy. So again, now this is going to the American side. So many presidents before him have put projects together. In the latest instance of manufactured outrage, that's funny. I didn't even read this first part before I went live. Unhinged leftists and their fake news allies are clutching their pearls over Donald Trump's visionary addition of a grand privately funded ballroom to the White House. a bold and necessary addition that echoes the storied history of improvements and additions from commanders in chief to keep the executive residence as a beacon of American excellence. I don't said it any better myself. Now, these are what I was looking at. In 1902, President Theodore Roosevelt built the West Wing, replacing expansive greenhouses constructed during the Jefferson administration and establishing the modern-day executive office wing with classically leaning design, along with the Colonial Garden and East Terrace, which eventually became the East Wing. Oh my gosh, what? The East Wing wasn't always there? In 1909, President William Howard Taft, remodeled and expanded the West Wing, which included the construction of the first Oval Office in 2009. We're going to talk about that in a second. Here's some pictures, by the way. This is from the 1902 construction. Here is also from the 1902 project, the West Terrace. This is cool, just seeing the scaffolding, and some things never change. There's also some from the 1902 project. This looks like, I can't tell if this is new construction or old construction. It actually looks like new, almost like they're laying down that foundation. Then the outer wall looks like it might be old. Here's 1927, when President Coolidge, he oversaw renovations to the White House from the Library of Congress. Construction of the West Wing expansion, 1934. So just a lot of cool pictures. I suggest if you guys, you should come here and look at it. Here's one construction of the West Wing expansion. You see all the I-beams that are going in. So it is a steel construction building. Here's some renovation work. So it goes down the list. Those are a lot of cool pictures. Here it's going through different things that they've all done. And one thing, I thought, two things I noticed that were interesting. Once you get to, once you get past 75, there's not a lot done. Again, this is only the fourth thing that's done since 1975. 1993, interesting year for White House renovations. President Bill Clinton undertook a restoration and refurbishment of the executive mansion. Well, it's funny because that's not the only thing that got a renovation during the Clinton administration in 1993. Hey, what's this? It's the White House Historical Association letter that's in the Clinton Presidential Library. Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, dear Mr. Epstein, this letter acknowledges the receipt from Paul A. Prosperi of your check dated September 29th, 1993, in the sum of $10,000 made payable to this association. We thank you for this contribution, which will be used solely for the benefit of the White House, primarily to assist in the funding the cost of the refurbishing of the Oval Office in the West Wing and certain areas of the executive residence. Well, isn't that interesting? 1993, President Clinton refurbished the executive mansion, and $10,000 of that came from his good buddy, Jeffrey Epstein. So I don't know. I obviously they're just making a list here of everything that's gone through, but I feel like putting this on here, or at least finding a reason to have a list like this, could be a little wink and a nod to talk about that. So, well, Smay is saying 10K won't build much. Well, you're talking 1993 money. Okay. So 10K in 1993 to renovate a single room, it'd go a lot further than you think, actually. And then in 2009, Obama, he resurfaced the grounds. I thought this was funny too. He resurfaced the south grounds of the tennis court into a basketball court and added a kitchen. So Barack Obama added a basketball court. Although I do want to put one in myself. And then President Trump in 2020, they completed a new tennis pavilion But this is grand. These are kind of little things, what Obama did. And then it looks like what Trump did. Well, it wasn't huge here in 2020. But man, a grand ballroom. I think that is going to be super freaking cool. And as we know, Trump the builder, that's not the only thing that's been getting built since he's been in. We go to existing border wall that's been built. Some of it's been there, some of it's been built. And there is more in the works, and it's going to be done before Trump is out. They are redoing a lot of it. This is already, this purple, this is all already been awarded to be done. The light greens are under construction as we speak. So they are going down, a bunch over here. And a lot of these are awarded. The rest are all being planned out. These all have detection technology. This might not get an actual border wall because these are all mountainous. And that's, but with the detection technology, they have that ready to go. So again, a cool building coming out of the Trump administration. So that is indeed a fine looking border wall. And as he said on Stephen Colbert, when he was running the first time, when Colbert was at least pretending to be half normal to him, although he's always been quite incendiary, that you don't have to build the whole thing, right? Because some places are completely impassable. So we're getting closer every day. And I was trying to get to that link, I actually ran into something that I thought was kind of interesting here. And so this was something by the Wildlands Network, wildlandsnetwork.org. And at first they're kind of lamenting the fact that the wildlife, it's kind of cutting them off from their natural paths that they used to take. And I'm reading it, I'm thinking, here we go. And they even do make a little point here, like limiting construction of the border wall is obviously the best way to deal with it. So I did keep reading though, because it's just interesting. There's actually some cool, I did find that there are some cool things that are being done with this. And so they were studying the paths of some of these animals, and they were finding places that they were going to cross more often than others. And in doing so, they were able to build things like this, this is an opening. So it's obviously monitored. So people, if border jumpers are coming to it, they're going to be announced. But the animals have adopted to this. There's a coyote going through it, but they've seen lots of others going through it. And then there's also things they have done here at the bottom where they have little extra openings. Obviously a human can't go through that, but animals can. And so this page is kind of asking to have some more of these put in. And here's a picture of a mountain lion, big mountain lion that actually, cats are crazy, dude. I grew up with cats, and or two cats consecutively, and they can do stuff like that. You're like, whoa. But so it's pretty cool. I thought that was a cool little response to a problem that obviously everything you do is going to have pluses and negatives. So this is something that people would say is a negative, is disruption of wildlife. And there you go. So there are answers, and they're being implemented. So I really like that. But Trump the builder. So very cool stuff going on. So now I want to talk about something else. In fact, we got 4492. We're going to go to our old friends, the Q drops. Maybe you guys have heard of them. And this guy right here. Cuomo killed my mom. I don't know how many of you are in the New York City area right now, but obviously this is a city that is near and dear to my heart. As I just said, I built skyscrapers in and around it, and well, actually lots of different things, mostly skyscrapers, for 17 years. 17 and a half years. And they are facing quite the election right now. And people seem to be having a short memory on one of our freaking candidates, one Andrew Cuomo, who put COVID victims in nursing homes that led to mass fatalities. I can't even, I'm like beside myself on X right now, and I'm seeing all these right-wing influencers who are telling Curtis Sliwa, the freaking founder of the Guardian Angels, to drop out so Cuomo could have a chance. Are you out of your fucking minds? I can't even believe it. And funny, and they're like, oh, even Trump said it. No, I watched what Trump said. Trump was like clearly like, oh God, of course they're asking me this. And he's very measured. He said, oh, I think no one could beat Mamdani. Maybe Cuomo would have a chance. You could tell he didn't want to answer the question because he knows. And Sliwa, listen, he notoriously, at least in the beginning, I don't know where he stands now. He was critical of Trump. I really didn't like that about him. Yeah, Sliwa does. He was also doing a right wing podcast on AM radio for a long time. I used to listen here and there growing up. And yeah, he was critical of Trump, and I forget, I used to burn my ass. But he's the Republican candidate, and he's still someone who's a real person who would do an infinitely better job than either one of them. It's like, they're like, we need Cuomo to save us from Mamdani. It's like saying, we need this guy who's 9.5 horrible, so we don't get the perfect 10 of horrible. Like, who the fuck cares at that point? At that point, you might as well just let Mamdani in, and man, maybe he'll Joe Biden some sense into freaking New Yorkers. Who knows? I mean, either one probably would. But that is a psyop. Again, yeah, okay, Angie K saying he's still critical of Trump. Yeah, that's fine. I'm actually not surprised to hear that. But nevertheless, anyone who is not insane cannot think like, what do you think? Cuomo is not critical of Trump? Do you think Mamdani's not critical of Trump? Curtis Sliwa is the only hope for New York City right now. And I see like conservatives, regular conservatives, and I'm not going to go to everyone who's saying it's a paid shill, but I see people who I'm pretty sure aren't shills who are saying it, and I'm just like, oh my God, are you falling for this? But a lot of people almost have to be. This is a psyop. As it was, if it just goes clean, you have 2 Democrat candidates versus 1 Republican candidate. Typically thinking that these 2 will split the Democrat vote and the Republican will win. That is why they're doing this, because the only hope they have is to convince NPC conservatives who are totally out to lunch to vote for Cuomo. Or, if by the grace of God, what they really would love to do is just convince Sliwa to drop out all the way, but he's not dropping out. I freaking love that he's not dropping out. But there are people who seem to be falling for this. I hope it's just a bot farm or troll farm that they've paid for, because they do that too, and they try to create this beaver like, oh, a lot of people are doing this. Okay, I don't like them, but I better vote for Cuomo. Are you ridiculous? Are you out of your mind? I can't even fathom that this is a thing right now. And here is what we're dealing with. There is a massive campaign. So if you come here, look, you put NYC mayoral election. Look what comes up. So the first one has a picture of Sliwa. This one has all three. Only Cuomo and Mamdani. Can't even tell what this is. You barely see Sliwa. You go to the images. Look at this. Nothing. This one has 3 people, which is Mamdani and Cuomo. No Sliwa. Just Mamdani. This one isn't even showing Sliwa. Is this one? This one also. This is just the Democrat, I guess, candidates. You have to come down to here. before you see a picture of him. This is psychological for him. Okay. This is psychological. And honestly, I wouldn't even want Cuomo to step down. Cuomo splits this vote right here. And I was saying that yesterday. I was like, if Cuomo really, because they keep saying, like, if Sliwa really cared, he'd step down and help Cuomo. No, if Cuomo really cared about New York, he'd step down and support Sliwa. He's not going to do that. But right now, what he should do is what RFK do. He should stay on the ballot, but he should tell everyone to vote for Sliwa. If he actually cared, he don't actually care. Yeah, this is a ploy. This is why they're going this way right now. And they're trying to trick gullible conservatives into voting for Cuomo. So anyway, it's the only freaking way. Anyway, I can't even fathom. I'm seeing, again, all these right-wing influencers, which I got to say, if you're not from New York, shut the fuck up about the New York City mayoral race, okay? Yeah, I know I live in Alaska right now, but I'm born in New York City. I grew up around New York City. I lived there. I worked there. This is what made me was Manhattan and the surrounding areas of Queens and New Jersey and everything. You guys don't understand that area. You want, I mean, well, whatever. I mean, de Blasio and Adams kind of kept it going, although he wasn't as bad. But even Bloomberg, oh my gosh. Bloomberg was like, I'm a Republican. Bloomberg started the new second downfall of Manhattan, and then it went all the way down with de Blasio, and we're right there. One of these jokers get in, forget about it. And again, maybe that's what New York needs. Maybe New York needs to be reminded of the 80s and the 70s to finally get someone. It doesn't even have to be Sliwa, but finally to get another Giuliani type in there to save the city. But I would just hope people aren't falling for this BS. And I'm going to play a clip here too, because Sliwa was kind of asked about this. They had the debate tonight. It's pretty good. Honestly, Kurt Sliwa, I'm not just saying this because of what I'm going over here. He absolutely destroyed both of them. But I thought this was a really good answer here.
To many New Yorkers, you've often presented yourself as more of a well-known New York character than a serious policy expert. Your critics have said your candidacy is making it more likely that Zohran Mamdani can win the election. What do you say to them and to others who feel that while your name recognition has seen a boost, your candidacy is not helpful to New Yorkers, including those who share your views?
Number one, I have 13 campaign offices open. I'm throughout the outer boroughs. You see the excitement and energy of the working class people that I represent. I am the Republican populist candidate representing the working class. And I'm also, Katie, the candidate on the independent line, first ever, put together by my wife, Nancy, who loves animals like so many. Save the animals, no-kill shelters, animal abusers go to jail. So people know that I'm not just running to protect people, which has been my life as leader of the Guardian Angels. I'm there to protect our pets and animals. Because remember, Mahatma Gandhi said, a society that does not take care of its animals does not take care of its people. Homeless, emotionally disturbed, veterans. I'm out there every day tending to their needs with the Guardian Angels, doing things that the city and state should have been doing a long time ago, but neglected them and instead spent $7 billion on migrants that we don't even know. That is a disgrace. We should be there for our own people who are suffering and wallowing in desperation and despair.
Oh, man. I mean, you know, the fact that they're telling you should vote for, you should vote for one of these guys.
Okay.
I was like, okay, yeah. What are you going to say to that, fucker? So anyway, you're going to vote for this guy's smiling, or this guy who literally mass murdered elderly in nursing homes? These people are insane. So you come down here. One thing that made me feel good, you can see my notes, so I didn't lose that part. These is, by the way, this is New York 1, NY1, if anyone's from New York. This is just a local This is just a local New York station. It's not right wing or left wing. So if anything, it's probably more left wing, which is sad. But here we go. As a New Yorker, Cuomo can bugger off. And then this is, again, these are the top comments, not the newest comments, top comments. They stacked the audience for Cuomo. Sliwa actually did a good job. Come on, everyone. Sliwa is the clear choice for mayor. I truly hope all of you in these comments supporting Sliwa actually get out and vote. As a New Yorker, Cuomo can bugger off. Why Cuomo didn't quit the race? Why didn't Cuomo quit the race to pave the way for Sliwa? Again, ripping on Cuomo. Cuomo's age is showing. Cuomo's a corrupt politician. You did all that, Cuomo. Well, it didn't work. Curtis would get my vote. Only Curtis is viable. Wake up, NYC. Vote for Curtis Sliwa. Don't get me wrong, Mom Dami is the pick, but Sliwa has his heart in the right place. That one could go either way. Sliwa cleaned house tonight. So don't believe when they're showing you these cooked polls. By the way, it goes all the way down like this. We're voting Sliwa. Sliwa has my vote 100%. So when they're showing you, basically, this is what the fake conning influencers are trying to say. They're putting up polls where it's saying 40% Mamdani, 30% Cuomo, only 19% Sliwa. And they're like, he has no chance. He has to get out to give Cuomo. Well, at that point, who cares? Cuomo? Governor Cuomo? What? It's freaking blown away. It's actually funny. I'm sorry. This has been the wildest month of my entire. I've never seen anything this absolutely batshit fucking crazy in politics in my whole life. So, anyway, thank you, Curtis, for. I think you're fucking wrong about Trump, and I hope you rethink that. But thank you for not dropping out. And if I still lived, I lived in New Jersey for most of my life, but right across the water. But if I lived in New York City in one of the boroughs, I'd be voting for you. Definitely. 1,000,000%. If you guys, if anyone out there, please clip this and send it to your New York friends. Because I am blown away. So that being said, why don't we take a palate cleanse and tell you about the cool event that's coming up for Badlands Media down in Cocoa Beach, Florida, which is the Great American Restoration Tour.
Here on the sun-kissed shores of Cocoa Beach, where the ocean meets the horizon, the Great American Restoration Tour continues on November 6th through the 9th, 2025. Badlands Media gathers patriots like you, not just to talk, but to rebuild. From truth-telling panels to unbreakable bonds, we're restoring the soul of our nation, one conversation at a time. This is the heart of the Space Coast, where the rockets defy gravity and dreams touch the stars. Feel the thunder of innovation that powers America forward. Together, we're not just healing the past, we're blasting off into a brighter tomorrow, a future where truth prevails, families thrive, and America leads once more. Join us in Cocoa Beach. Get your seat or your virtual stream pass now at badlandsmedia.tv/events. Launch is imminent, and you don't want to miss this liftoff.
Right on, dude. I was at the last Cocoa Beach. I'm not going to be at this one, but I can't recommend it enough. The area is cool as shit. That beach, that's the beach right behind the hotel. So you're literally, it's like going to a beach resort, and you can see where, is it Cape Canaveral? I forget exactly where they did the rocket launches. We watched the freaking rocket launch the last time we were there. So it's super cool. Definitely, I know there's a lot of Badlanders in the, did you go to Southeast quadrants, if you will? Although, it's an easy flight if you're even not in Florida, Georgia area. I would definitely go. This is definitely one I would go to if I were you guys. A lot of fun, a lot of cool times. And I'll tell you what won't be there is ye old No Kings rallies. Was that the funniest freaking thing of all time this weekend? First of all, they accomplished nothing. Half the country, or more than half the country, whoever wasn't there, just went on with life as normal. No one went to any stores and were like, sorry, we can't serve you. Our half our staff didn't show up because none of them have jobs. It was old, retired liberals and young, useless liberals who are either in college, getting further brainwashed, or just sitting at home playing video games, getting pissed off at the world with no real job. So there was zero impact, except for they got out there and make fools of themselves. Some of them got themselves fired for being incendiary. But again, it's just a way to protest and be like, I don't like Donald Trump. We all know what it is. There is an interesting factor to it, though. So first, let's read. This is what's next. Boycotts, strikes, and more protesters. Organizers on what's next for No Kings. So first, I'll say, before we get into this, is that there actually is one thing that this accomplishes. It stresses the city coffers that's in. I mean, do you guys think these guys like cleaned up the streets after they were done? No, the city had to hire people. So that's money. It's all it does is stress systems and cause money. And this is what they're trying to do. The people who are behind this, the organizers behind this, they're just trying to hurt Trump. And in a way, it might. I mean, directly it hurts the cities. But of course, a lot of that sometimes trickles through to the federal government. The No Kings Alliance, the group behind the mass days of protest last Saturday and in June, is building a nationwide rapid response network that will call on supporters to take new actions each week. So you can tell me they can't do this each week? Good Lord. Leaders of the organizations told The Guardian that there was energy for some type of disruption, and future actions could include targeted boycotts, campaigns at universities, more street protests, and electoral organizing in local communities. Well, they've always actually, the left has always been really good at organizing the vote. And that is where we lack. There's obviously movements, even from people who I love, like, it's just fake. Don't worry about voting. And I'm just like, man, that's like the most poisonous pill you could ever put in there. Yeah, it's cooked, though. There is a lot of cheating. We watched them, and no one let Trump in. Like, the idea that the deep state let Donald Trump in is the most insane notion in human history. Dude, look what they did in 2020 to make sure he didn't get in. There was no way on planet Earth they would ever just be like, click the button for Trump. The people have spoken. And that's just insane. These people are psycho. They released a freaking virus on society as a way not to do them. They have no morals, no nothing. So anyway, so these people, they're gonna try and localize for electoral. Again, they already do that sort of stuff, so that's no big deal. Street protests, this just stresses the coffers of towns. The campaigns at universities, they're already doing this. The universities are churning out little Marxists at record speeds. This is the one thing, targeted boycotts, that could potentially be felt. But it's funny, most right-wing companies, well, they're already known for their political beliefs. And they already kind of is a soft boycott going on in them. So that might not actually make a big difference. So short of violence, which I saw some people pushing for this to go to the next level in violence, all this is going to do is just create an air of craziness for the towns, for the cities. And that will be psychologically linked to the Trump administration. The years of Trump will be psychologically linked to this sort of craziness. But it draws a parallel. Now, if some of you guys have been watching my new show, Q After Hours, Sunday night, thank you so much, by the way. There's been a massively cool reaction to it for episodes 1 and 2. I mentioned really quick that there's a lot of parallels, and collectively we've all kind of talked about this, is a lot of the Q drops, or at least the plans, the things that the Q drops put forth that this team is looking to do, that Trump is looking to do, the White Hats behind him is looking to do, are really coming to fruition. One of the main things pushing the Q drops was talk about Spygate or Russiagate, or whatever you want to call it, that whole mess. And look what's happening. There's actually arrests going down for it right now, like big name arrests, indictments. John Brennan, he's on the hot block. He's on the chopping block right now, or for suggested for indictment by Jim Jordan. That's coming down the pike. And we actually called that when Alpha asked, I shouldn't have let Josh go first, but I wanted to show the video I made with Dan Scavino, but my guess was going to be, we have a segment at the very end. What do you think is going to happen next? And it's just like, you make a wild prediction, and it's just a fun thing. I was going to say John Brennan indictment, so I let Josh go, and he said a couple things, and then ends with his big one being John Brennan indictment. I was like, damn it, I was just going to say that. But he's not indicted yet, but he has been, Jim Jordan has referred to the DOJ for charges to be brought against John Brennan. So it's a start. I think he deserves a lot more charges than what was referred at. Absolutely anything of this nature. You get the ball rolling. Let's freaking go. So I love it. But we have been talking about everything coming full circle, and we're coming up on the anniversary. It's going to come on Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I guess this upcoming Tuesday, is going to be 28th. It's going to be the 8-year anniversary of the first Q drop. And those first Q drops, they started right around the time there was a fever pitch getting reached with Antifa. Let's bring this up here. You guys remember, this was taken out in the New York Times right beforehand. There was going to be in 2017 this big Antifa breakdown where they were going to have this big marching in the streets, and they even took it out. This is in the New York Times. They took this out. They were advertising it everywhere. You know, people were all freaking about it and stuff like this. Refuse fascism, November 4th. It begins. Is very much parallels, and the No Kings rallies. Of course, there's Antifa types there, although they're trying to pretend like Antifa is not a thing now. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure thing. But this all parallels the exact right now is the same sort of feel that was happening at this time in the first Trump administration. And of course, this is the same thing. We're just getting about 3/4 under the way of the first year of the Trump administration. And this is the conditions that we were under when they started. So I think that's interesting, because one of the first things that was really talked about in the Q drops was Soros and Antifa. Get this up here. And that was one of the first, I guess, red pills that was dropped. And a lot of people, they want to dismiss the Q drops in MAGA, but a lot of what we talk about, these were all concepts were super foreign in 2017. Here's one of the first things. Military intelligence referenced above is the absolute biggest inside drop the sport we'll ever see. Now think about why Antifa plays right into the plan. Always ahead. Good guys are winning. Now there's talk in these early drops about National Guard being deployed in every city in America. What do we have right now? National Guard is starting to be deployed in different places, in different cities in America. Exactly how these first Q drops we're talking about. Again, one of the first things, this is post 14. Yep. This is the post that really lays it out. In fact, I'll do 337 first and then go to that. Since the country is not divided, this is fake news. Antifa was organized purely for optics, redivision. Again, psychological. That's what's talking about the No Kings rally. All the things that they're saying we're going to do, they're already doing that. But what will it do? There will be this optic of the fact that there was such an opposition to Trump. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. That's why they do it. This is psychological. It's fake. And this is where you get the famous, we consider 4 to 6 to be lost forever. We consider them hopeless, forever brainwashed. Boy, I think this is more like 10%, to be honest. It said, reread the crumbs and slave grip the D's have on the black population. I think that's post 9. You can go to that in a minute. This says, why is this relevant? Why are jobs, the economy, growth relevant? This requires a deep cleaning. These people are stupid. You're safe. Have faith. Well, we've been watching a deep psychological cleaning. Trump is also doing a lot of things through legislature, the first term, but also now, especially the second term. They are cleaning out the government. And then you have this. This is the post. This is probably the most famous Q post, although 133 is up there, in my opinion. And this kind of lays out a lot of different things, talking about like why did Admiral Rogers meet with Trump privately at Trump Tower, and then President Trump the very next day packed up everything and moved his whole transition team over to Bedminster. Well, because he told them, presumably, that he was being spied on by that they had bugged Trump Tower. But here we go. Why is Antifa allowed to operate? Why is Antifa allowed to operate? Why hasn't the Muslim Brotherhood been classified as a terrorist organization? What happens if Soros-funded operations get violent and engage in domestic terrorism? What happens if mayors, police commissioners, and chiefs do not enforce the law? What authority does POTUS specifically have over the Marines? The Marines are the president's personal strike force. Why is this important? And then talk about Mueller. This is where some people think that maybe Mueller was working with the White Hats. That's something that's now I've never really been sold on, to be honest. But it says, why is Trump asked to run for was Trump asked to run for president with assurances made to prevent tampering? How is he always 5 steps ahead? Who is helping POTUS? But again, this is things they were talking about, seeding ideas about Antifa very, very early on. Not that people didn't have inklings, but now it's just common knowledge. Like, yeah, Antifa is funded by people like Soros and Soros himself, and NGOs that are funded by Soros, where they're washing money and trickling it down until these type of operations. And then you have stuff like this. This is drop number 3. Let's go to this one. It says, why is the National Guard called up across 12 cities? Okay, 1029. Talking about the fake news, Operation Mockingbird, priority to clean out the bad actors to unite people behind America First agenda. Many in our government worship Satan. It's not Republicans versus Democrats at this stage. Where's Hillary Clinton? So it's interesting to see if somebody start hitting, even if they don't hit on the exact day, if they're around this, if this is around the same time. Again, what's coming down the pike for Comey, Letitia James, Brennan seems to be coming down. Bolton was actually indicted also. HRC could be one of the people who are next. And it's right around the time. It says, why is National Guard called across 12 cities? Trust in your president. God bless patriots. So right now we have National Guard, and let's see, we have it at least in Chicago and I believe Portland. Let's see how many others. Those might be the only 2, but I'm not sure. How many? Here's National Guard. So 5 cities as of the October 22nd, National Guard has been actively called up and deployed in 5 major U.S. cities. And what that drop said 12. So I don't know. 1 week, it would have to get crazy for 7 more cities to be added, but we can see. It says cities will confirm National Guard deployments. LA has about 2,000 Guard members deployed to support law enforcement at the moment. New York City has about 1,500 troops actively activated for crowd control. Chicago, 800. Portland, 600. And Atlanta, 400 to 500 right now. And this is also saying Memphis. Troops patrolling since October 10th. It's part of a federal task force on violent crime. And DC. Oh, yeah, that's right. DC. So it's more than 5. This is actually interesting. You know what? I'm going to start compiling a specific list because things are getting pretty wild. And man, again, they are completely paralleling the environment that was here when the Q drop started. As we reach the 8-year anniversary, it would be interesting to see what starts popping. And again, we're gonna start getting into that more and more. Q After Hours Sunday night, right after the narrative. Although we'll probably overlap a little bit, depending. But we've been having a lot of fun digging on that show with Josh and Alpha. Cool. And oh, dude, this is a freaking good point. Oh, let me pull this up from chat. I don't know what the first half of this was, but once they don't get their EBT, maybe, dude, yeah. Wow. I think officially that it won't go through probably around November 1st. I think it's always the first of the month. I've been seeing a lot of videos where people like, yo, I don't get my EBTs. I'm gonna bum rush the supermarket. What? Like, okay. If I was the police force, or even maybe Trump could deploy National Guard and have them stake out supermarkets, that would be kind of crazy. But it's like, if these people are saying that they're going to be doing stuff like this, if I was the cops, I would just have people staked out all over the place and get a little extra overtime. Again, something that also stresses the city coffers. But you know what? Arrest everybody. It's so weird, like, that people don't seem to get arrested anymore. For some reason, liberals don't get arrested when they do crimes. Pretty sure when I was growing up, if I bum rushed a freaking supermarket, stole a bunch of shit, and then like told off the people at the store as I was walking out with it, cops would be called at the speed of fucking light, and I'd be tackled in that parking lot. I can almost guarantee it. Yet, I don't know. I guess in these neighborhoods, these people feel not only are they emboldened enough to do it, they're making videos announcing that they're going to do it. I mean, these aren't the smartest criminals on planet Earth. You know, holy shit. It's like we used to laugh about the guy at the bar who commits the crime and then he's drunk and he starts bragging about it. And then the people turn him in and he gets thrown in jail. Like, that is actually sane compared to these people aren't like bragging about it after the fact. They're literally putting out TikTok videos pronouncing it. So I'd be arresting every freaking one of them if that was my city. And I would just watch them. If that was like someone put a video out there, I'd be tailing him for the day that it was supposed to come out. Also, too, this is seems like a hard reset. It's coinciding with the October 1st. October 1st, a lot of things kicked in that were put in about EBT and SNAP benefits. One of which, off the top of my head, we're talking about this very briefly on Alter State, is you have to work 20 hours a week now. I saw some people really upset. Some videos, people were really mad about this. It's like, so you have to work 20 hours to get your money. But this is why this is perfect. Fun, they're lowering the money, right? So right off the bat, you're going to lower money anyway. But now you got to work 20 hours. But that 20 hours, when you get that paycheck, that's your money. No one online can be like, I don't want these people eating steaks with my freaking tax dollars or whatever they're doing. No one can say that to you. We need them to start feeling it, because these people are victims of the system, right? They're used to, a lot of them, they grow up in these welfare communities. Their parents are on welfare. They grow up, they don't even know a work ethic. They're not taught a work ethic. Half of them don't even have fathers. And then they're on welfare. And it's just money. You get the money for food, you get the money for whatever you need. You do a little something on the side, well, you could get money for other things. You need those people to start feeling what it's like to get a real paycheck in your hand. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time, I worked at Burger King, I worked at the pizza place. I made $5 an hour and $7 an hour respectively. It was cool getting paid, but it was, it was just change. I'd give half to my parents for rent, and the other half, I don't know, I'd buy alcohol with or whatever. I'd buy a new shirt once a week. It's not money. My first paycheck, my first real paycheck, I was 21 years old. I just got in. I was on Trump Building F over by the West Side Highway, and they made me open in the dark. That's what at least they used to do. And man, I think it was something like $600 for the week, for 1 week. I remember being like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever. Like in my head, I was playing it cool, obviously, in front of them. And then so I take this home and I got real money. And I remember also too, that first week, this dude Mike, my boss there, he goes, what's your cell phone number? I go, I don't got a cell phone. It's 2002. Okay, who the freak had a cell phone in 2002? I mean, I know some people did, but I didn't. I was like, here, let me give you my beeper number. He goes, beeper number? You got a real job now. Go get a cell phone. So, all right, I think I might have to get like 2 or 3 paychecks. I remember I went to Radio Shack and got my first like flip LG cell phone. And it's just such a good feeling when you have real money. You're making real money, and no one can tell you what to do with that money. That's what they're going to start experiencing. I know they're mad now, but 20 hours a week, forget 20 hours a week. Oh my God, are you going to be okay? Please, man. You want a concrete crew, you work 50 hours a week. Anyway, and by the way, they're going to love the no tax on overtime thing. So that will change their outlook on it. And then they'll start looking at that little check for that they're getting from the SNAP benefits, as opposed to what they're getting weekly for their 20 hours a week. And they're going to say, well, fuck this. I'm going to work 40 hours a week. And then it's going to teach them a work ethic. We have to rip people off the system. It's got to be like a Band-Aid. Ripping a Band-Aid off hurts, but it's quick. So they're going to freak out. Who knows? Maybe that will provoke National Guard to have to be sent to more cities. Actually, might, because it sounds like they're going to cause a lot of chaos. And that's really sad that a civilized human would go in and act like an uncivilized animal. But we see it all the time. We see videos all the time. What are you going to do? But for most of them, it's going to be really, really, really good. It's going to be a real eye-opening experience. And I think they're doing the right thing by doing that. And we'll see. And we're doing that a lot with foreign aid right now. We're ripping the foreign aid away. Trump's been doing that with things like the United Nations, even in his first term, ripping the money away. Our tax dollars fund the whole world. This is another concept that was pushed forth in the Q drops that I had never thought in these terms before. A lot of people didn't really think in these terms, but it's just known stuff now. You understand where we are 8 years later? These concepts are just commonplace. People think they're regular MAGA concepts. It's not the case, but that's okay. That's how far we've gone, that these have just entered the lexicon of the world. And that is a beautiful thing. And moving forward, I think things are going to get pretty nuts. A video we played on Q After Hours on Sunday had Cash purporting that, look what is done by the end of the year. That's only 2 or 3 months. And I'm going to give them more time than that. But things have been excelling. And that tells me it's going to be a crazy next couple months. So we'll see. Things are excelling all across the board. The chaos is excelling, which makes you know that they're over the target. But the good things are excelling, which tells you the future implications of where these people are going. Trump's doing cool stuff. His people are working on cool stuff. You know, here's something that stuck out to me. This is from a Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. It says the budget deficit began to shrink dramatically beginning in the second quarter of this year when there was no overlap with the Biden administration. From April to September, the cumulative deficit totaled just $468 billion. This is the lowest reading since 2019. It's down nearly 40% from the comparative period last year when Biden was spending recklessly. Today, President Trump is putting the U.S. financial system on solid footing. Revenues are soaring and government spending is under control. Democrats think they can undo the important progress, but the president has made by shutting down the government. They will not succeed. And it's important with what Trump's doing with peace deals and stuff. Most of us are just forgetting that that the government's even shut down. Abby was showing me something. There was Senator Merkley. I think he went for 22 hours straight speaking on some sort of filibuster. Like, who cares? These people, they're weird. Why aren't you trying to help the American people? But here we go. This is the deficit. Again, it's the lowest since 2019. Obviously, 2020 with COVID is inflated. 2021 is inflated, but then it just stayed inflated. And this is what Biden did. Biden had inflation spike here. And that's why they're like, when are prices going to come down? Really, what we need is for wages to catch up. And then the prices will seem more relative again. And then some will also come down. A lot of that has to do with things going on with gas and oil industry, which is good strides going on there. But you can go to any one of Trump's people at any time. They're all doing things in the background. A lot of times the news is focusing on whatever the thing is out here. It's always a singular event or a singular thing. When you look, whenever the thing is happening, behind that thing, RFK Jr. is making more Maha advancements. You have Bessent and Ludnick and those people making more things with the economy and pushing forth monetary stuff. You have Hegseth doing stuff with the armed services. You have all these different people, Tulsi Gabbard, all of them, all quietly working. None of them like take a break. They're like, all right, this month is you, Johnny. The news will say this month is this guy, and they'll only talk about one thing. But these people, it's actually great because those wind up being smoke screens while the Trump administration picks away and picks away and picks away. So anyway, if you're in New York, make sure you vote Sliwa. Don't let anyone convince you. Don't vote for Cuomo, dude. If Mamdani wins, he wins. What are you going to do? Or is Cuomo going to be much better? He could be better. He's going to be equally as bad. So what's the point? Vote Sliwa if you're in New York. And also keep an eye on the ballroom. The ballroom is going to be pretty freaking cool. The construction is looking cool. I'm geeking out of that. I will be giving you some updates as it goes along, but we'll let it get a little further ahead as it does. And don't forget, we're going to do this Saturday. Jay and I are going to do a Halloween special for the audio files. And then I'll see you for episode 3 of Q After Hours. And before I go, I just want to say shout out to Dick Sepp, who said, thank you, Brad. Prayer hands, or I heard someone saying that means high five now, but I'll take it as prayer hands and heart. Well, thank you. And thank all you guys for hanging out. and just being pretty freaking cool here for where we're going. We go all after dark. I'll see you on Saturday. Peace.
you